What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. I know a lot of gyms now are reclosing or they're not open yet. Similar to a lot of people, I have been doing home workouts for many months now. I know a lot of people have misconceptions about how home workouts may not be as effective as gym workouts. But today I'm going to show you a few ways that you can level up your home workouts. So the tips that I will be talking about today require a pair of dumbbells, but you can use anything that's in your house. The first tip I have is tempo weight training. So tempo is the speed at which an exercise is performed. And tempo weight training is essentially manipulating the speed of motion in a movement. Tempo is usually described by 2 to 4 numbers counted in seconds. Typically, in a movement, there are 4 parts. The first part is the eccentric phase. The eccentric phase is when the weight is lifted or when the weight is moved away from the body. It's when the muscle lengthens while producing force. The second part of the movement is the pause after the eccentric phase. The third phase is the concentric phase. The concentric phase is when the muscle is contracting. It is when the muscle shortens while producing force. And the last phase is the pause at the end of the movement to start the sequence again. When you change the speed of an exercise, it changes the times the muscles are under tension. A common example of tempo weight training is slowing down the eccentric phase, which is generally the lowering phase of a movement. So a common tempo for beginners is 3-0-2-0. A way to manipulate this and slow down the eccentric phase is doing 5-0-1-0. 5 seconds eccentric phase and then 1 second concentric phase. Another way of tempo weight training is adding pauses or isometrics. Pauses and isometrics are incorporated to eliminate momentum and to increase voluntary contraction of the targeted muscle group. So pausing during an exercise requires full activation of the targeted muscle group. This means that you are only relying on that muscle group to stand back up or move back up. An example of this is pausing at the bottom of a squat for about 3 to 5 seconds. This will build major strength and muscular endurance. Tip number 2, unilateral training. Unilateral training is any training that involves isolating and using the muscles on one side of the body at a time. Unilateral training will maximize your performance, increase injury resilience, and even enhance bilateral outputs. Incorporating unilateral training fixes any muscle imbalances that your body naturally compensates for. It also increases your core stabilization. You are challenging your stabilizing core muscles to support the loaded imbalances to promote sound movement patterns. An example of this is in a single arm shoulder press. Single arm shoulder presses leads to greater muscle activity and core stabilization in the trunk. You could also incorporate this in lower body movements such as a single leg deadlift, or a single leg squat. A tip I have for you guys is that if single leg is too hard, you can try B stance. So B stance means staggered. Instead of doing the exercise only on one leg, your back leg is there for some support and balance. In B stance, you could do this for B stance hip thrust, stance deadlifts, the ability to isolate and train individual muscles on a unilateral basis will help promote muscular development and growth. Tip number 3, changing your set performance. Set performance is how you perform each of your sets. Typically, people perform their sets into straight sets. Once all the sets of an exercise are completed, then you move on to the next exercise. So an example of a straight set is doing 3 to 4 sets of an exercise that involves about 10 to 12 reps in each set. And then you rest for 45 seconds to a minute after every set, and then you move on to the next exercise. A way you can change your set performance is doing supersets. Superset is when you group 2 exercises together with little to no rest. One way you can perform a superset is doing exercises that target the same muscle group. An example of this is a bicep curl and then you do a hammer curl. Another way you can perform a superset is doing exercises that target different muscle groups. So an example of this is doing a bent over row and then doing chest presses after. Another way you can change your set performance is by doing 21s. 21s is a set that stimulates the upper half of a movement, the lower half of the movement, and then the full range of motion in a movement. This is where weak spots in strength can be reduced. A very common example of 21s is doing bicep curls. Circuit training involves a combination of a few exercises performed with little to no rest between them. One round of a circuit is done when all the exercises have been completed. Circuit training combines both cardiorespiratory training and resistance training. Circuit training maximizes your use of time and allows for more volume training. An example lower body circuit would be squats, deadlifts, hip thrusts, and lunges. Tip number 4, and the last tip, are including pulses into your workout. Pulses are very popular in bar classes. So essentially what pulses are is performing a movement with a shorter range of motion. Your muscles are contracted the entire time. Pulses activate the active muscles and recruit slow twitch muscle fibers. Slow twitch muscle fibers are best for endurance work because they have a higher threshold to fatigue, and therefore they require more reps to get tired. So you're still able to get a burn without adding more weight. So those are the 4 tips that I have for you guys to level up your home workouts. If you head over to my Instagram, I do have a lot of home workouts there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.